8 floors. They were finished on my own floor. When I took them, I said, I'm selling this. Everybody was ordering. Remember, there was no bread. People were buying 2, 3, 6, some of them eating in the office, some taking their homes. And the growth of baking started there. I started supplying a coffee shop, and Uganda bookshop had also a coffee shop. And I felt comfortable. If I've ever felt financially independent, was that time when I was baking, because my needs were minimal. There was no tax man in between. There were no workers other than myself, my maid, and my daughter who were doing it in the evening. So the profit was almost like maybe 80 or 100% really. I bought what I needed for them, stocked in bulk, bought a box of soap, box of key soap. In those days it was called key soap, kisumuruzo, and bought sugar, salt in quantity. And then I relaxed. Then the balance, I went and dressed properly. I was young like you. And I relaxed a bit. Remember, the expenditure is continuous. So surely business, you have not to relax at all. You must continue. But I relaxed. Of course, then the money ran out. Then I went back. Remember, my customers were even calling, "Ngatocha Bugatti." So anyway, I picked it up and I bought a bicycle, I bought a new cooker and many things. But then after that, of course, the war finished and the people with bread, with hot loaf in particular, started. Instead of being wise and continuing, I went to queue up for hot loaf. At that time, I had already started my Nina Limited at Wandegea. I had that small shop in Wandegea selling Blue Band, salt, sugar, kaunga, like that, like a small grocery shop, but in a big shop. But I thought that bread people would prefer. We would queue up there. But if I had continued with my buns, I would have sold them along with the hot loaf. Remember, not everybody can afford a whole loaf of bread. For me, I was selling one by one bun. So I should have continued. So that was an error, which if you people have started the business, don't abandon it. It can still carry you forward. So anyway, quickly, Mr. Ochichi, I know you have a lot of words. After,
no, we are doing very well indeed.
After the Nina Limited grew really from, in those days, a grocery shop or a supermarket would have the counters behind, like here, and were piling them there, not along. People are not walking along, and it was not safe anyway. So I started by a few shelves. The shelves went across and up, and on the side, I bought a freezer, started selling frozen chicken, and selling butter, and the shop was getting known slowly. I was selling even hair creams for the ladies, and selling sweets on the counter. I don't know if any of you were running a supermarket or a grocery shop. Is anybody?
Anybody with a grocery shop?
No?
Nobody. Okay.
But
no problem.
If people don't have businesses, it is a good thing to start, because everybody will go to buy sugar, salt, soap, they will go to buy. I just wanted to share that on where they pay, on the paying counter, there are always sweets there, and shavers, little things like that, so that if you've forgotten, for men, he'll buy a shaver straight away. For women and children, they'll buy sweets and chocolate. So they put them there. So at that time, I wasn't sure how much profit I was making, because everything I sold, I would run to Chikubo to restock. So when I took leave one time, I even hired a friend to sit there with me, and we watched one item, those sweets at the counter. And those sweets at the counter, and popcorn, and chagua. You know chagua?
Yeah.
We made a profit of 220,000 shillings from those items only. So you can see the profits which can come from small things. And after the one day, someone came to my shop and he insisted that I go and run a furniture shop. It was not my idea. Many people say, how did you start a furniture shop? It was a man called James Msinguzi. He passed away recently. He came and looked at my shop. I don't know why. I thought I was doing very well. He said, you come and run my furniture shop. When I didn't look interested, he said, I will give you 2 million.
Oh my God.
2 million in those days was a lot. But I still hesitated. You can buy sweets every day, and bread and sugar and soap. but do you buy furniture every day? So somehow I hesitated. It took 2 years for me to take the offer. Now I had planned to retire, so I was going to give full time to my business. So that's how I started Nina Interiors. And at that time in 1991, I changed the name from Nina Limited to Nina Interiors Limited. And I want to share this with you and warn you, if you have registered a business and you abandon it and you start another one, URA will come for you. So you must wind it up properly. For me, I had not wound it up properly. They came for me after about 4 years. I said, but I stopped. They said, we know, but you did not close. You must pay ABCD. They had worked out figures. Really, I went and pleaded to a commissioner. I said, you have to pay. Why didn't you wind up? So I wound it up, and after paying a heavy bill. So anyway, but as I was saying, at home, my little girls were helping. My first daughter was studying out of Uganda. When she came on holiday and discovered that mommy was making money from bands, she wanted to participate and said, I'll buy shoes. After the profit she made, she bought shoes and went back to school.
Which class was that? She was in which?
She was at
secondary? Or?
Like senior 4.
Okay.
Or like senior 4.
That's when
senior
she
3.
would get into the business and then use her earnings to buy some shoes for going back to school.
Yes.
You see?
And but I remember her in particular. You know, my memory is running away. But for her, I remember she bought shoes with stripes. These you tie around your legs.
Yeah.
But that made her comfortable, and also gave me relief. I did not have to dip in my pocket to give pocket money or to buy the shoes and other things they needed. But in one day, each of the children had some little business. There is another child who tells me that she was selling cassettes. You know what cassettes are? She was selling cassettes there. I cannot even remember. She said, I was selling cassettes. You even gave me a corner. And
in the grocery shop?
Yes.
Okay.
That she would sell cassettes. But I think I was concentrating more on mine. And another told me that she was selling cigarettes. Which I hated. I cannot. You see how money can throw you into the wrong thing. But I had also sold cigarettes. But for me, I would sell, buy in cartons just before I opened the shop. There was somebody who was an agent of a sportsman, and I would buy a carton from him and make like 50 shillings. But at the time, even now, 50 shillings is a lot, isn't it? No, 50,000 is a lot, a lot. I would make something like that. So, and finally we moved to Nina Interiors on Uganda House on Nkuruma Road. There I started with just 5 of us. The girls were on holiday, the younger one and the middle one. They would wake up early with me. Remember, we had to be at Uganda House like 7:30. We lived in Kansanga. So you can imagine how we'd wake up.
By 7 a.m. you're in Uganda House?
Yes.
Okay.
To clean the shop so customers can start walking in.
Yeah.
If I can throw you back, I don't know how many of you remember Tinyefuza getting angry that the Muslims make noise for him. I was surprised. I said, for me, I appreciate them. When I hear them, I know I have only 30 minutes to sleep. It was like my bell. I would hear and lie back. That just a few minutes, then I get up and shower and go. Anyway, so we'd go and clean They would clean and we start. And one was working as a cashier when they would be available. Otherwise, I was my own cashier, my own accountant, my own cleaner, my own driver until I could afford. But when Mr. Ochichi talked about retaining workers, one of the girls who came to work with me, my sister knows her, Edith. At that time, she was the young girl who came to work with me. She's still with me. Her own children are graduates, architects, engineers, and a dentist, and she's still with me. So we clean together and work together, and now she's in accounts. At that time, she was, I don't know what. At that time, I didn't have job description. And so the company grew slowly like that, but with a lot of hurdles and errors. And I'm happy to see young faces, because your error, you cannot avoid it. But when you are taught by this man who handheld me, he's helping you to avoid errors. Record keeping, I don't know whether he covered it.
We mentioned it.
And when you are recruiting family, you must be aware that they must follow the rules. If a family member is not willing to listen, let him go, because it will cause you anxiety, both of you, the member and you, and will show a bad example to other members. A family member should want to lead by example. Let others say, she's the one doing this, and yet she's boss's daughter. That is what is very important. So that the family members, I was ensuring that they are the ones handling the money. So my daughters, the two who were with me at that time, became my signatories in the bank. And they were both allowed to sign, either her or me. Others, I can maybe advise that you can sign together until you've learned to trust your child. Because children these days can be misguided, can be sweet-talked. The boyfriend can say, you lend me, I'll bring it back. Or the girlfriend.
Generation 2, you can be sweet-talked and the money is taken.
Yes, it is possible.
Yes.
For a man to disturb you in the ear and say, you bring 100,000 njakuzi zawo, when he knows. But slowly, one of the signatories, when she was at university, which I want to bring up, I was going to get a loan from Barclays Bank. And I took the documents to her. At that time, the document was like this thick. And I waited for her to get out of lectures. I said, you have to sign here. I want to get the money. She said, have you read it? I said, you just sign. I said, no, man, let me at least read it. She read. I said, anyway, then I'll come for it tomorrow. I was rushing where? Back to my shop. The presence in the shop was important. So the following day when I came, she had written a note and said, did you read the small letters? And you people who borrow money from the banks, do you read the small letters? Either it is deliberate that you don't read them, or they know you don't. Because they tell you that if you default, you shall sell the business, plus your clothes, and your shoes, and your husband's shoes, and your children's things. They come, and they can do that. It is written there. I don't know whether they still write those things.
They do.
But, so you people, when you are borrowing money, be careful. Because me, I wasn't. If she had not brought it to my attention, I had not known that they can stretch. It is called, is it called arm's length or whatever? They can stretch from your business to your things at your home, which is very, very sad. And it does happen. So the girls learned, hopefully, that they still practice it on their own money, because mine, company money, is first and foremost mine. Do you understand that? I'm the owner, the founder. So they must respect that money. They cannot play with it. And now we have systems where they cannot even play with it. Even me, when I want to go to the account and say, can you lend me 200,000? They say, can you get authority? Can you imagine the cashier telling me that I must go and get authority? I thought I was the authority. But they will not give me cash over the counter. There is a way they call it in accounting that you must not, it's called billing and tilling. You shouldn't use the money you've collected from business without accountability.
Exactly.
Yes. So that one also helped us because we started recruiting people who knew how to guide me. In fact, other mistakes I made was to recruit poorly qualified people because I feared expenditure. I did not have a qualified accountant. I had somebody, he retired just a year ago.
Yeah.
My brother gave him to me that he's an accountant, but I think he had done bookkeeping. So, a very nice fellow. After some time, at the end of the year, when he gave me the value of the stock, the value of the company, I said, I knew that you cannot be worth billions of shillings. So I said, how did you arrive at this? I knew in my head that I was not, I owned only these tables and a few fabrics. Surely, how can it be so much? I said, I said, he had recorded selling price. That is not the value. The value of the company is your cost, not your selling price. That's when we knew that he was not qualified, and I didn't tell him. I kept him and gave him other assignments. He retired at a good position of head of logistics because I have trucks and deliveries to do. So he was heading that. But then I recruited someone who was slightly better, and then better. Now we really have a good finance department. We have there 8 people, and those are all not relatives. And the general manager who is not a family member, which is also, it adds value because for him he looks at it differently. And he's a man, I thought he would not feel comfortable because management team are women except him. But he manages very well and stands his ground when he's right. So I appreciate him in front of you and teaches us that even if it is a family business, we have to recruit from outside and look for qualified people. Right from the start, if you can keep accounts alone to start with, keep them properly. Then after that, around when the company started growing, and because my daughters had not worked elsewhere, it was starting to become personal. If I said, this, I want it on my desk, but mommy, you are so demanding. Where is my daughter? Is she here yet? But you are so demanding. Don't you know that? She would take it personally. So slowly, we healed. By example, she has to deliver. And then I thought, now I need a headmaster. I need someone to whip them for me. Then I approached the one who was my bank manager when I was banking very little money. I went to him and said, can you be my board chairman? This guy has been a board chairman of Institute of Bankers. He accepted to be my board chairman. I felt so grateful because he had guided me, and I knew my children respected him. Call it fear. They feared him. So whatever he would demand, they would do. So the board chairman came on board and was the one teaching me what a board chairman should do, and the board, what a board is to a company. The board gives an oversight role. It is above all the overs, above the MD, above the general manager, and he's not a member of your company. Excuse me. He's looking at it at this angle, like a bird's eye view. So he can look at the accounts, he's supposed to, and he looks at them. He's supposed to look at your administration, how you run the company. He's supposed to look at compliance. Do you pay taxes? And ladies and gentlemen, please learn to pay taxes. It will save you. It will give you, you relax. No, you will not fear if a taxman walks in. When you've made errors, you'll find them. But don't be deliberate on cheating taxes. There is avoidance and evasion. Pick the right one. So he makes sure you are compliant, because if you are not compliant, the board is also answerable. You remember there was an NSSF board which was almost blamed for the general manager's bad behavior.
Correct.
Yes. So the board chairman oversees that to make sure the company is running properly. It is running properly, but is it making profit? If it is not, why not? He will stand at the board level and ask you, why didn't you make a profit this year? Even when we've made our budget and we said this is what is going to happen, you can look at it and say you are overspending there and you are overspending there. We need to make money for the directors, for the owners, for me. Can you imagine the board chair saying the company has to make money so that at the end of the year I get a bigger dividend? So that is the board which it does for us. They look at risk also. What are the risks which are facing this company? They look at the strategy and say, how are you doing that? They look at accounts and compliance. I think those four, isn't it, Mr.
Yeah, that's Patricia who has just entered.
Patricia, my daughter, my youngest, has just come in. She's the one I was telling you that she would say I harass her too much. Now she's the one who harasses
Patricia,
others.
you could come and have a seat here. You might say a word as well. Give her this free. Thank you for coming. Yeah, you can take a seat here. Yeah.
So, I was talking about the board.
The board, the risk, takes care of reports, analyzing profits, paying taxes, compliance.
Yes, and governance. And because of having a board, Nina Interiors was recognized, was it 2016, by MTN, because we had a board. We had a board, and because we had a branch in another country. Unfortunately, we had to close that branch. When things don't make money, don't stick there, run away. So we had to close. Then as we finish as we are now, we have partnership with that Chinese company which Mr. Ochichi talked about, and the girls are running the company. My first daughter heads administration and human resource. I've been touched by her because she struggled to learn, to study human resource so she can do the work properly.
She had to go and study human resource.
She hasn't gone to school, but she studies online.
Or she's now studying?
Yes, she knows. She knows everything. You cannot get up and sack anybody without consulting her. She knows the rights and the do's and the don'ts. Then Patricia, who is the youngest, accidentally became the boss because she came to run the company when everyone else had not finished with their lives. When they finally my other big daughter came, and it is only those two which are running the company.
So Patricia now came to become the managing director.
Because for her, when she finished school, she came direct.
Very good.
Traveled with her, or literally everywhere I went to do purchasing, she would come with me. When she was at university, I traveled with her to South Africa to learn how to make blinds. When for me I was busy talking to the boss, listening, having coffee, she was in the workshop learning. When I said I should go, she said, I've learned, Mommy, you don't have to go. And she traveled alone to Taiwan to buy machinery. She was very young. I had given instructions, sleep at this house and blah, blah, blah. She disobeyed and didn't sleep at that house, to the supplier's house. Said, Mommy, do you know how they live? Their bathroom is like a kilometer away. But she did and bought machinery. And I had entrusted her with the money, and she was able to do it. So when we can learn to encourage and teach the children to be responsible for the money, then you can slowly let go. So I tried to retire earlier, like 3 times. I would go and spend there, yeah, and then when they would travel, I come back and sit in the shop.
Wow.
And like that. If they said, oh, we are struggling, I would come as if I was going to make a change. I would come back. And when I had thought, now I have retired, then there was a gap of another 2-3 years. I came back. Then COVID hit. Then Museveni said, all the old people must go home. Then Juliana, my first one, who is the human resource boss administration, said, Mommy, you and Auntie Bena, another old woman, you don't come back from tomorrow. You don't come from tomorrow. So we had to go clear our desks and go. And since then, I've not gone back.
Interesting.
Since then, I've not gone back. In fact, when I go to the shop, I'm shocked because quite a number of staff don't know me. They must be how many? Like the new workers, because the company has expanded. We have 3 branches, so they don't know me. They pass me and I let them pass. The others still come and hug and greet and queue up to greet me, but the new ones have to be brought and introduced. So now where we are in the 3rd generation, I have 9 grandchildren, and 7 of them have graduated.
Wow.
But it is their choice, because they know there is employment at that place, because I would give them pocket money so they know I have some money. Little, you don't take much from me. I would give little. But they know there is a job if they want. So I'm not forcing, I'm encouraging. The door is open, but they know when they come, they have to deliver. Maybe they know this quarrelsome grandmother. Why should I go there? I don't know. Because now I'm not there, it is their mothers. And you know, working with the mothers, I told you, is not easy, but it's doable. You have to respect each other, and even if you get angry, you go and sulk or cry, but you still recover. So now I'm delighted to tell you that we are working with Melissa. Melissa, can you stand up? This is my first granddaughter. So Melissa just got her master's degree in those subjects which It's international relations. Those are not bad subjects. And the first degree was criminology. So be watchful if it is criminology. Anyway, so Melissa is giving us Melissa, even when she was still at university, was handling our IT, advertising online. Is that how they call it? Huh? Social media. She was running it with her sister and her other cousin, a boy. They were in England, but running it. Can you imagine? I used to say, they must come and see. They said, we don't have to come and see. You can still do it. Though I still need and publicly want Melissa to appear in the shop more so that you listen to what the customers are saying, because listening to a customer is very, very important. When they know, are they looking at your social media or are they not? So with that, many, many words, I want to thank you, Mr. Chichi, for hand-holding me, and you people, ring him. When you are stuck, he will answer. When you are stuck, so I don't understand this. Attend his courses. I noticed this was expensive. Me, I used to pay 10,000, 20, 30 maximum. Sometimes I would study for free. And here I am talking to you today.
Very good, very good, very good, very good again. Can we give Mama a real fitting clap here? And to get back again. And as that kept going on and on, opportunities began to knock. And as opportunities were knocking, the babies were also growing up. The Patricias were beginning to grow up, and she said, you know what, as you are growing up, begin to chip in. And I don't want to take too much summarizing what Mama said, but there are a few things that she said. As the children were coming on board, there was a firstborn daughter. Then there was also a lastborn daughter. She ends up putting the lastborn to become the what? The boss of the entire team. And the others were all happy to proceed with the little girl becoming their boss. Do you get the message there? And then it was not by accident, because they had done a few travels together with her, showing her how to handle money, showing how to do this and that. And then she begins to have feelers on how to be safe when you are abroad, and said, this little girl can go far. And along the way, she begins to become comfortable to listen to messages which say, Mommy, tomorrow don't come. The children are saying, be safe. Along the way, she tried to retire 3 times. Along the way, finally they said, Mommy, you can now take a slow lane. Let us run with this thing. But as that is happening, there was this umbrella thing called the governance structure. And you saw how she summarized what was happening under that. Managing, analysis of money, the profits, issues of risks, issues of deploying staff. And in between, they are now saying, nobody comes to us just to be having a good time. You must earn the money that you come and pick. Very insightful. Very, very, very wonderful. And the managing director is right here. She has run in Nigeria with a diligence you can't believe. Patricia, come and give us some few words. And I
entered in my S4 VAC, but
yes.
I started from P4 every
P4.
holiday. Anytime she felt you were idle or you're bickering at home between siblings, she wants to divide you, you go and work. You stay here. So, and it was always more fun to go and work.
Excellent.
It's still more fun for me to go and work than stay at home.
Excellent. And then finally you finish school. They're now getting into formal employment at Nina Interior. Did you immediately get an appointment, or you were first going through some?
Mommy is giggling. Even him, he's saying, then you got into formal employment. There was no clear-cut line. I
Yeah.
have worked for Nina Limited and Nina Interiors all my life.
Yeah.
From the age of 9.
Very good.
Actually, I should say that I've worked for Mrs. Karugaba's enterprises from way before, because she started by baking buns. Did she tell you that?
She did that, yes.
She did.
Yeah.
So she would bake buns, she would make cakes. We had jobs. Our job was to oil the baking tray. She would give us the blue band to oil it. If she was making cakes, you needed to stick around because you would be allowed to lick the dish. That was your salary, to lick it. So my early jobs in her enterprise was also to baste the buns, because when you make buns, you have to sort of baste them, otherwise they come out pale. Then you put them in the oven, and then that smell. And you would be allowed one if you worked. Yes. So that's the only place I've worked. It might be a disadvantage because I've not got work experience from anywhere else. I was going to say I've not suffered a harsh boss, but I have. So it's the same, really. It's the same. So there was no clear-cut line of formal employment. What I could say is at a certain point, we got appointment letters.
Right.
No, even before the appointment letters, we got titles.
You got titles?
Yes. And my elder sister, Joanina, who the business is named after, Nina, was general manager.
Yes.
And then we were sitting at a table. You, what will you be? You, what will you be? Me, I chose, I'll be sales manager. And then shortly after, Nina left. But now we were formalizing the business. We were attending courses. The Swedish government and Netherlands and British Council were very interested in grooming women in business. So they would invite us for several short courses. And at that time, they were going through Your Will. Enterprise Uganda also came up at that point. And I'll tell you right now that we have worked with Enterprise Uganda. And Enterprise Uganda planted the first seeds of formalizing our business.
Thank you.
So then we now, Nina left. That
Yeah.
meant it was just myself remaining. We now had to do appointment letters, job descriptions, all that. I learned that from Enterprise Uganda.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Oh yes, just now we're going through an overhaul and review of our job descriptions to ensure that they are aligning with our objectives and our mission and our vision.
Just on that area of formalization, you now have a strategy document.
Yes, we do.
Running
We
for
do. We have our strategy. It's ending in 2026. So the entire, right now, I'm preparing a paper which I'll present to the strategy committee.
Yeah.
And then it will be presented in the board meeting of November, end of October.
Wow.
And then the entire half of 2026 will be preparing for the new strategy,
yes.
which will take us for another 3 years. It used to be 5 years. We brought it down to 3 years because the business environment changes too quickly, too
Correct.
fast.
Yeah.
Things are happening too fast. You cannot remain chained to a 5-year document.
That's
Even
true.
our 3-year document, every meeting that we go to, we are looking at our performance and realizing there are areas that we have to review.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, very good indeed. I'm now opening this up very quickly to a few people to clarify a few things that you've heard from here, and the hands are many. I'm going to control them up to 5. Oh no, there are going to be many.